Then God said, let the earth bring forth the living creatures according to its kind. These are the land animals, cattle and creeping things and the beasts of the earth, each according to its kind. And it was so. And God made the beast of the earth according to its kind. You remember, he wears this term out, according to its kind, according to its kind. But wants to make very clear to us that he made these things as distinct species. Cattle according to its kind, and everything that creeps on the earth according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. I don't like creeping things, but God made them good at the beginning. I always wondered, what's the purpose of mosquitoes and ants, biting ants, or bees? Because I've been hit with killer bees. Wonder, what's so good about that? But in the beginning, they were made good. And then God said, let us make man in our image. You know why this is so interesting? Is because in Hebrew, the word for God is a plural, Elohim. And it generally takes a singular verb. But here, in the very beginning, he uses the plurals. First person plurals. Let us, pronoun plural, make plural, man in our plural image. Now, is he talking to angels or what? No, he's talking to himself, the ones that are creating. So in these very passages, you get the teaching of the Trinity. You remember the Spirit of God hovering over the waters? And here he's saying in the creation, us, together. It's a very difficult thing if you don't believe in the Trinity. You're also going to see other passages in Genesis 1 through 3 where he uses plural verbs and plural first persons. It's very stunning, right in the very beginning of Genesis. Let us make man in our image. In other words, man is a son of God. He's created in the image of God, according to our likeness. What we are is a description of who God is. You see it also in the scriptures of angels in the Old Testament are referred to as sons of God. And they look like us for the most part. So somehow we're related. And the images that the prophets see, Isaiah, Ezekiel, John in the Revelation, the description they give is of one that looks like us. They never describe his face, but his lower body looks like us. Hands, torsos, legs, feet, different colors than we are, but looks exactly like us. So we're cast in that image. You know, a deer isn't cast in the image of God, or my favorite dog. I don't have favorite cats. But none of those are created in the image of God, but man is. Let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth. Man's given this dominion originally over these creatures. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he made them male and female. He created them. Then God blessed them, and God said to them, be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth and subdue it. Have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, and over every living thing that moves on the earth. In our day of political correctness, this doesn't fit exactly right. He didn't make two men or two women. He made man and woman in his image. That wouldn't go very well with our common political correctness of homosexuality. Or giving man dominion over the creatures. They say we're just one of them. And in fact, they'll protect a baby whale more than a baby human. They've lost the orientation of the creation. We're still in the sixth day. And God said, see, I have given you every herb that yields seed, which is on the face of the earth, and every tree which yields seed. To you it shall be for food. In other words, man's given the right to eat vegetables, not meat at this point. And also, to every beast of the earth, to every bird of the air, and to everything that creeps on the earth in which there is life, in other words, breath, I have given the green herb for food, and it was so. The lions don't have to eat other animals to live. They can live on grass. Every carnivore is an omnivore, and it can be a herbivore. It was created that way. We don't have the tooth and claw viciousness in the initial creation. They're given a right to eat grass and herbs and fruit. And you can see it. Bears eat berries. They don't have to eat fish. They don't have to eat people. They don't have to eat other things. It's like the one fellow said, things have changed. He was a man who had been attacked by a shark and had taken his side out. Unfortunately, someone got there before he bled to death. He says, I realized I was a part of the food chain, but he says, I wasn't at the end of it. I got caught in the middle. But that wasn't the way it was originally. The sharks were not made to eat anything but was green vegetables. Then God saw everything that he had made. This is the whole creation. And indeed, it was very good. This is the sixth day. So it was an evening, and the morning was the sixth day. He made the beasts of the earth. And this is probably the most ferocious today land animal there is. It's the polar bears. They don't even sleep in the wintertime. They don't hibernate. They just hunt and eat. And I had some Russian friends, and they served up in the Arctic Circle in the Cold War days, and they lost some of their comrades to these things. They'd sit out there in a blizzard for 3 days with their nose covered up because he says that's the only dark part of them with their paws. He says they wait for you. And we were going between cables between our Quonset huts, and he says they get you. He says, and they'd leave your gun and everything there. But he said, but that wasn't the way it was created initially. The polar bears, the beast of the earth. And of man, this is from the Sistine Chapel, and it's Michelangelo's, showing God touching life into man. God said, let us make man in our image. And it's the touch of the master's hand that gave life. And male and female, he created them. The seventh day, this is the Garden of Eden. Thus the heavens and the earth and all the host of them were finished. It's completed. It's done. Creation's finished. And on the seventh day, God ended his work which he had done, and he rested on the seventh day from all of his work which he had done. Then God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because in it he rested from all of his works which God had created and made. So on the seventh day, creation's finished. It's all done. And he rests on that day. God ended his work which he had done. Look at these beautiful things. There are beauties out there in the universe we have never seen because we can't see that far. So, we can't even see stars in other galaxies unless they blow up. But these are some that we can see in our own galaxy, the Milky Way. Isn't that beautiful? That's not only just a creation, that's a work of art, done at a scale that none of us will ever dream of doing. Let's make some observations about the creation. The creation in Genesis 1 to 2 breaks into eternity. Like we said, it was total silence, quietness from eternity past in time. And all of a sudden, this thing breaks into eternity. Genesis 1 to 2 is interpreted in a historical narrative and is based on, we call it a historical grammatical hermeneutics. That's a method of interpretation. It's unlike Psalms 104, which is the creation in a poetic form. In other words, in the scriptures, you have different types of literature. You have historical narratives, you have poetry, you have prophecies, you have wisdom literature, you have parables, you have some allegories even. But each one of them has a method of interpretation. This as we're going to see, it's not like Psalms 104, which describes the creation in poetic forms. This is a historical narrative.